crazy NBA trades that have done would ruin the game. The NBA seems to have the most roster change and player turnover than any other major professional sport in the world. This comes with both pros and cons. On one hand, teams never really stick together for a consistent or long amount of time, and as a result of this, a team that runs the league for a few years could become one of the worst in the league in just a single season, like what happened to the Golden State Warriors this year. Or, on the other hand, your team could be propelled from a team in a major rebuilding phase, then go to the #1 seed in your conference with two of the best players in the league on the roster, like with the Los Angeles Lakers. This is a factor of the NBA that makes it so interesting of a league to follow and cover. A team can go from nothing to something, or from something to nothing in a single offseason due to trades and free agency signings. Sometimes, however, trades can be made without thinking of the implications for the rest of the league. A team that has a very good player but is fed up with that player, fear they are going to lose a star player in free agency, or want them off of the roster to begin a rebuilding process, can lead to a lopsided trade, or trading a player for half of what they are worth to an already contending team, making that team almost unbeatable. Today, we will be looking at some of those trades that could happen in the 2020 offseason with NBA player trades that would ruin the game. For this list, I have made up mock trades that could possibly be what we see if the player were to get dealt to each team. Giannis Antetokounmpo to the Los Angeles Lakers. The first trade that could possibly happen this offseason and would build one of the best dynasties we have seen in a while would be sending Giannis Antetokounmpo to the Los Angeles Lakers. In this trade, I have tried to set it up in a way that the Lakers would also keep Anthony Davis on the roster as well. While it would be very surprising to see the Bucks accept the deal considering all that Giannis means to the organization, the thought of losing him in free agency for nothing could be enough to spur them to accept this deal. Along with this, Giannis has said on the record that he would love to play on a team with all of his brothers in the future. Coincidentally, the Lakers have signed Kostas Antetokounmpo as a part of their G League team. In this hypothetical trade, the Detroit Pistons have also been involved to try to sweeten up the deal for the Bucks. In this trade, the Pistons will receive Ersan Ilyasova, Quinn Cook, Danny Green, Avery Bradley, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. The Lakers would receive Derrick Rose and Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Bucks would receive Alex Caruso, Kyle Kuzma, Blake Griffin, a 2023 second-round pick from the Lakers, a 2024 second-round pick from the Lakers, and a 2025 second-round pick from the Lakers. In this deal, the Pistons would be clearing up their cap space, getting rid of Blake Griffin's contract, allowing them to begin to rebuild their team. The Lakers would get a near all-star caliber point guard along with arguably one of the best players in the league, and the Bucks would be getting something back for Giannis rather than letting him possibly walk in free agency and be left empty-handed. Also, they would get a good start on their rebuilding process, while still having the pieces to possibly be a top 3 team in the East. This trade would leave the Lakers with a starting 5 of Derrick Rose, a hole at the shooting guard spot that they could fill in free agency, LeBron James at the small forward position, Giannis Antetokounmpo at the power forward spot, and Anthony Davis at the center spot. If the Lakers could find a way to retain these players and keep them together as core pieces of the franchise, they would be a heavy championship favorites for years to come, even after LeBron James and Derrick Rose retire. Along with this, if they could find the right pieces in free agency, they would be more than capable of building a team that could even compete with the roster that the Golden State Warriors constructed with Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, and DeMarcus Cousins. Bradley Beal to the Brooklyn Nets. The next possible trade that we will cover will send Bradley Beal to the Brooklyn Nets. With Beal being on an awful Wizards team with John Wall being sidelined with an injury, and with Beal's trade value being at an all-time high due to the scoring explosion he has had this season, it only makes sense that the Wizards will inevitably trade him, despite their GM saying that there is allegedly no Bradley Beal sweepstakes. This trade would team Beal up with NBA superstars Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, forming a big 3 of star players in the league that has currently been dominated by dynamic duos. This move would make the Nets almost locks to make it out of the East almost every season, if they were able to get past Giannis and his Bucks team. However, with the scoring ability that Irving, Beal, and Durant would bring to the table, I believe it would be very difficult for a team to lock all 3 of them down for a single game. This deal is a much more simple trade, and just involved the Nets and the Wizards. In the trade, the Nets would be receiving Bradley Beal, and in return would be giving up Karis LeVert, Joe Harris, and a 2020 first-round pick that originally belonged to the Philadelphia 76ers. This would bring together 3 all-star caliber players onto one roster, all being in the middle of their primes. There still would be some questions on chemistry issues, or if Durant would be able to return back from his injury and play to the full ability that he has put on display his entire career. However, if Durant can play to the level that we have seen over his career, the team gets along, and Kyrie gets his assist numbers up, up, this could be another potential dynasty, and a team that runs the table in the East for as long as the next 5 to 8 years. In terms of the Wizards, they would be one step closer to being able to blow up their entire roster and begin a rebuild that should have been taking place the past 2 to 3 seasons. Chris Paul to the Milwaukee Bucks. The next hypothetical deal we will cover will give the Bucks a big three that would be very hard for Giannis to walk away from in free agency in 2021, and would give the Bucks yet another perfect piece around Antetokounmpo. That would be making a deal that sends Chris Paul from the Oklahoma City Thunder to the Milwaukee Bucks. In this deal, the Bucks would get Chris Paul. The Thunder would receive Ersan Ilyasova, DJ Wilson, George Hill, Eric Bledsoe, and the Thunder's 2021 first-round pick. This would get Paul's enormous contract off of the Thunder's books. This could allow them to sign a young star in free agency, or more likely leave money sitting around that will later be used to re-sign some of their young talent. Currently, while he has revived his career with the Thunder and has been a perfect piece to have on the team, he does not yet fit the timeline of the team. The Thunder are currently delaying a much-needed rebuild. They have very talented young pieces on the roster. However, with the abundance of draft picks that they have, combined with Paul being the only all-star on the team, their time to take over the league will be much after Paul retires. This trade gives them contracts they can allow to expire, or pieces that are much easier to move in trades than Paul's gigantic contract. The Bucks would be getting an all-star player that needs to be in a win-now situation. Along with this, Paul is one of the best pure point guards of all time, and is the perfect piece to put alongside Giannis on the Bucks. Paul is still one of the best passers in the NBA, and him running a pick and roll with Giannis would be something that would keep teams up at night, trying to figure out a way to stop it. Paul being added to the team would also greatly benefit the Bucks' second star, Chris Middleton. Middleton is one of the best three-point shooters in the league, and with Paul's ability to kick out on drives along with his absurd passing vision and basketball IQ, it would not be insane to think that with Paul on the team, Middleton would be seeing more wide-open threes than he has in his entire NBA career. Rudy Gobert to the Boston Celtics. The next trade would round out the starting five of one of the most well-rounded teams in the NBA. This would be sending Rudy Gobert to the Celtics. Currently, the Celtics have very talented players at almost every position. However, it is clear that the center spot is their weakest in the starting lineup. While their core of centers has overachieved this season, bringing in an all-star player and defensive anchor like Gobert could be enough to push them over the edge and make the Celtics clear favorites to win the Eastern Conference year after year. The deal would send Rudy Gobert to the Boston Celtics. In return, the Utah Jazz would be receiving Daniel Tice, Robert Williams III, Romeo Langford, Marcus Smart, and a 2020 second-round pick. For the Jazz, this would get Rudy Gobert off the team and diffuse any chaos that could arise when he and Donovan Mitchell take the court again, after COVID-19 reportedly raised issues between the two, after how Rudy Gobert handled the entire situation. Along with this, they would get young pieces to put alongside Mitchell, as well as the defensive stopper in Marcus Smart. They would give the Jazz one of the best defending backcourts in the entire NBA. The Celtics would find Gobert to be a center that they could keep around for a long time, rather than signing role players at the spot year after year. They would be getting a defensive player of the year candidate and a rim protector. This deal would give the Celtics possibly the best all-around starting five in the entire league, and make them favorites to win the East, even over Giannis and the Bucks. Giannis Antetokounmpo to the Golden State Warriors. The final trade that we will cover is the one that could bring the Warriors back to being the frontrunners to win the NBA title after only a single season of rebuilding. This trade may vary on where the lottery goes, however, assuming the Warriors get a top 2 pick in the 2020 draft. I believe that this package will be enough for the Bucks to accept and send Giannis to play for the Golden State Warriors. This may be the riskiest trade out of all the previous covered deals, as it would force the Warriors to break up their core of 3 main players that have taken them to 4 NBA Finals and won 3 of them. The trade would send Kevin Looney, Eric Paschall, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, a 2020 first-round pick, a 2022 first-round pick, a 2026 first-round pick, and 2 2020 second-round picks to the Bucks. And in return, the Warriors would be receiving Giannis Antetokounmpo, Brook Lopez, Ersan Ilyasova, and Eric Bledsoe. For the Bucks, this would likely be the best deal that they would be able to find if they did not think that they would be able to re-sign Giannis in free agency. They would be just one player who could handle and pass the ball away from being a championship contending team, along with having a lot more draft picks to fill their roster with young talent. The Warriors would be getting one of the best players in the league to pair with Steph Curry, along with very solid bench and role players to fill the rest of their roster. This trade would put them right back on track to being contenders for the NBA title. However, it would be very risky to make this deal for the Warriors, as they would be giving up 2 of the 3 players that were core to the team's 4 finals runs, and would split up the Splash Brothers, which is one of the best duos and arguably best backcourt in the entire NBA. Final thoughts. Despite free agency being slower than it is in many years, the 2020 offseason still has potential to be one of the most interesting that we have seen in years. There are enough pieces to be moved and teams looking to take their place as top dog in the league for a deal to be made that could absolutely ruin the game and give fans a villain to cheer against collectively. Thank you for watching, and make sure to subscribe to UpNext Sports for more basketball content similar to this.